But Eager, one thing they did so well that like I really have to commend them on is they were going in, but they weren't necessarily, you know, trying to full commit. But they have a high burst comp. You could see they didn't even opt for like a weakening curse to try and deal with like any anti-heal for the raw healing composition. They just stuck to a plan. They would tease going in and then come out and then immediately go back in with like an all-in burst and typically onto, you know, Ataraxia or PrettyPriMe. And it just worked out so well from them. And like you said, the only time that they really ever gave up on that disciplined play was when they were punished for it at the FG. So if they just continue to play that pensive and passive style, I think it'll actually work out better for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think what Eager can be positive about is that they did give Obey a lot of their comfort picks, and they still came out with a victory. So they should be quite confident right now with their draft style. They obviously, they're switching around the picking order right now, so they're going to just kind of stick to the similar bans. We do see the Xing Wei ban out of Obey. They were not enjoying that from the Zapman.
No, Zap was doing a lot of work on that Xing Wei, and the crits, I think, were really important as well because he was helping to secure so much damage early on from those Sobek plucks, and it was just difficult for Obey to really deal with the damage that Xing Wei is outputting once she got to the late game stride of the game.
Still committing to that Nike ban too. Really, those are two gods that just devastated them in that first one. But now we see for the first time Zeus coming in here. How devastating could this be if Eager isn't careful?
It could definitely be, I think, even a lot more dangerous to deal with than a Vulcan, for instance, because Zeus is another one of those characters similar to Anubis where he has a lot of early game objective control due to the fact that he does have a lot of burst damage from the get-go. So it can be incredibly risky for Eager should they try to take up any early game fights or even any defensive movements in the jungle. They could find themselves on a very fickle situation.
Yeah, and it's almost like Zapman wants to kind of show his talent and trying to pick like a different ADC almost every game. In no particular order, we see like 4th pick earlier, we see 1st pick Xing Wei, now we see a How Yi. And I do like him on that character. He's very powerful, one of the most mechanically gifted. We've seen some of the most insane bounces in his career, right? Double kills, solo kills, great pressure.
And we see the Erlang and Odin picks coming out really early as well for Obey. I feel as though the Odin is a really important pick here because, you know, they obviously wanted to complement with the Zeus and his ultimate. That can be pretty devastating for Eager should they find even 1 or 2 players trapped inside that ring. And so I think it's important here that they opted for the Janus because I feel like Janus actually does a pretty good job at being able to displace the team fights enough to where they can probably safely get away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Janus Portal is really good at helping the team get out of the cage. We were seeing Eager actually ban Odin, so they must have known something about Obey. Maybe they had some kind of homework done about their Odin play. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this kind of double warrior pairs up. Will they go for that triple warrior that we saw them run previously a couple of days ago? Or will they opt for like a kind of just normal guardian?
Yeah, and considering that the Erlang and Odin could still definitely be flex picks between support, solo, jungle, I think it's really safe for Eager to go ahead and ban away that tier just in case. Don't let Variety get a comfort pick because while they were able to manage and deal with it last game, still at the same time, you don't want to put yourself at an unnecessary disadvantage.
Yeah, and the one thing that's going to be interesting here is what will Ataraxia opt into against this How He? Such a powerful character in the laning phase. You definitely need to match up with him, so he can't go anything too late game orientated because he's going to be under a lot of pressure, right? So I could maybe see him playing the Anna, but it's not something we've really seen Ataraxia play in his career.
I wouldn't be surprised if I saw him pull out a Soul here. Soul is still on the table. He does prefer the mage ADCs, or he has been preferring them at least the past like few days here. So I think that I wouldn't be very surprised to see it, and I think that Soul actually does deal with How He very well in the sense that her 3 is actually an immunity once she activates it after a certain period of time, which is really important for escaping the slow and stun inside the Hui ultimate.
And it's almost as if you predict. It's almost as if you analyzed it there, Taco, because he's hovering over it right now and thinking about whether or not he wants to go. Or do they pick up the Athena? They have 2 picks now, so they can go ahead and get whichever one they want to prioritize first.
Yeah, and I think that if they opted for an Athena here, it could be a pretty devastating combatant. But it sounds like we're going to have a Thanatos locked in, and I think that that's a really spicy pickup.
Yeah, it's definitely good. It's kind of interesting against the healer of Guan Yu. Like, typically you want to get them under the threshold to execute them, and healing can be a massive deterrent there. You go up into the air, Guan Yu drops a meditation heal and his normal heal, and then suddenly they're not executable anymore, and you've wasted your ultimate. And as the crowd goes crazy.
Yeah, and we see Divios, you know, he's sticking true to this Guardian solo idea. Well, then again, it could still be Divios not playing Xing, but I just kind of expect it to go that way because the matchup's a bit more favorable, whether he's against Odin or Erlang. And overall, though, I really like the draft coming out from Eager.
Yeah, Eager's looking pretty good here, but of course, you just can't count out Obey by any stretch of the imagination. This is going to be an intense matchup, so you got Eager going into this, forcing Game 5 for the
I want to
comeback?
go to a 5th game, definitely.
You want to go to? I do as well.
I think I want to see a 5th game at this point. Eager have a well-rounded, strong draft. They just need to execute it, and they definitely can win.
All right, well, it all comes down to execution, folks. Who will come out on top? Will we see a Game 5 from Team Eager and Obey, or will Obey shut it out right here and punch their ticket to tomorrow's Grand Finals? It's time to get hyped, folks, as we send it over to our casters.
Thanks one more time, Golden Boy. Now I need to just show one more thing. You guys in the audience want a Game 5? You want a Game 5, Funballer?
Definitely.
I want a Game 5, that's for sure. What about you, Aggro?
I got nothing
I
to do.
don't care what
I'm
you're going to say. Tell me about the draft, though. Tell me about the draft.
No, Funball, you tell them. You guys are friends, I guess.
What do you think about the draft, Funball? Are you happy with it?
I'm pretty happy with it. I like the dishwasher ultimate in solo lane. I think it's going to do work, and I really like the Xing 10, honestly.
Okay, well, we'll see. The Xing 10 is going to be in the solo lane for Divios here. Variety is playing the Thanatos. Hold on a second. China, is that you?
Taking a note, man. I love it. In that game for, it was also Lich who played it a lot in the solo lane as well for Shinto. They played very well around that, and that was a big reason why they were able to come back and beat ALG, were those late game executes. It wasn't even the early pressure that you expect from the Thanatos. It was hitting level 20, getting your ultimate to maximum rank, and getting that 40% execute.
And I love the adaptation from both teams. You always see in this mini meta that develops. We saw 3 basically tanks on each team the last 2 games, so the last 3 games I should say, and right now they both go, listen, we need just that little bit more damage, so now we're going to drop one of the tanks for a little bit more.
One thing we haven't mentioned is that Ataraxia has been this Premier Soul. He was the one that played it last year when it got released, and it's always been in his god pool, and I really like the matchup into Hou-Yi.
Well, Zapman here is pushing forward on his own right now with his team behind him, looking to steal away the red buff one more time, or Eager. This time, though, Obey are looking to fight this. Is on the right-hand side one more time. We got an invasion there, too. The red buff falls down. Everybody disappears, so clearly, Eager stole it away.
Eager did steal it away. PANDALIKE actually electing to stay on the left-hand side this time and not group up with his jungler and soul laner like we've seen him do consistently throughout this series. I guess they thought that they had the chance to steal that away, or that they wanted him there right away to help out PrettyPriMe and keep him safe in the mid lane.
I almost feel that's because he's playing an Odin as well, and if Odin gets behind, he's not the greatest thing in the world, just becomes a ring on legs, that's all he's going to do. Whereas you would like him to be able to get those bird bombs going a little bit earlier if he can go with a bit more of a standing start.
And the earlier he can get this cage going, the better, because like you heard on the death, Thanatos against the healer, it doesn't really work out sometimes because you feel like you're able to get the execute and then they burst heal, but you can't heal inside that Odin cage.
So CaptainTwig went the boots, which gives him more HP, and it gives him extra gold. I think he just wants to farm into a level 5 and just wait for some fights in mid lane once PANDALIKE has his ultimate.
I can definitely see that, as well as the extra mobility that a lot of people don't take into account with those boots, for being able to transition them out quickly and respond to any shenanigans Eager might have in store.
And I like this idea from djpernicus as well, to go for the traditional Bumba's Mask. You can't finish off any boots on Ratatoskr, so you have to really go for it. And I like to see DJ on this traditional assassin. This is probably his best assassin, even before Bastet, I would say. So we'll see how well DJ's able to kind of transition from that tanky frontline initiator to this assassin over-the-top initiator.
Now, you mentioned a little bit, Funball, about Sol versus the Hou-Yi here in the lane matchup, and you actually like the Sol here. What's the benefit of being Sol against Hou-Yi?
So if Hou-Yi looks for an ultimate, the Sol can just use the 3 and get out, and he can just the Sol can also heal with the 1, and the stellar burst damage, when he gets poked onto Zapman, he has to retreat.
And that's the big thing right there, I think you mentioned, the Funball, is that slow immunity on the Disapparate. right away. That's such a big part of Huyi's kill potential in lane, is slowing you with the Suns. So Ataraxia just going to be able to play this lane safe, and that we've seen him do that time and time again, and it's worked out very well for him.
Well, right now we've seen both junglers. We've seen Twig over on the right-hand side of the map in the solo lane soaking experience, and meanwhile djpernicus is back on the left-hand side here, looking to soak and also pressure a little bit more onto Ataraxia.
Interested to see what sort of build PrettyPriMe goes this game, because we saw Yaman pick up this Zeus and go for a very tanky-oriented build, not going for the tank boots right off the bat like Yaman did this time for PrettyPriMe, but we'll see if he goes into that. It looks like he'll be Dynasty Plate Helm, could be that Spirit's Robe, could be a Winged Blade after boots, something along those lines to make sure he's going to be staying alive.
Well, this start of the game, you can see that DJ's a little bit behind in experience over Twig, as CaptainTwig has that level 5 already online for himself. They will be looking for the best at opportune times in the mid lane. Obviously, the pin from Erlang Shen is a cripple, so they can stop him getting away. But right-hand side, Variety, he'll get to the sky just in time.
Very low, no bluestone through space, and time coming as well there from Best to make sure that anything else that happens is going to go in Eager's favor.
And that was classic Aror too, though. Being in the solo lane, looking to pressure, not being expected to be there. But he is against PandaLike, who's very good at those rotations too, as the red buff falls down there. I'm not sure exactly who got that one.
That was well timed from PrettyPriMe. I'm pretty sure he got that buff as well. Ataraxia knew that Huyi was going to rotate into there, and that was well executed by Prime.
And he picks it up, also make sure the back harpies are still safe as well, so making sure he controls his own jungle again. And it's been the same tale every game here, Aggro, that start of the game, Eager steal buffs, but they don't manage to get the return steal the next respawn.
And that tells me that Obey is very prepared. Ataraxia low on this left-hand side, Zapman a little bit off the mark with the ricochet, and looking at the relic pickup here for PandaLike, going for Blink, no shell for your support like you usually see, especially against ultimates like Ratatoskr. He's looking to be the engage onto Aror. That's going to be the focus, I imagine, with that Blink cage.
And if Guan Yu gets behind as well, he's not going to be as useful as any other character. He's a warrior at the end of the day.
Yep.
He has two forms of CC, one slow and a stun.
And when you go back all the way to, the launch tournament, the combo you can see there right now, Zeus and Odin, was old school as old school got. That combination of the ring followed by the Zeus ultimate on top, they are the perfect pair to play together. And when you're against a Guan Yu whose horse can't escape the playpen, it's a free kill.
They also have to be careful of the Janus portals though as well, because if the cages are still closer to the wall, the Janus can just ult and then they can all get out of the cage.
Definitely true indeed. Keep an eye on how the best performs on that. But left-hand side, there's a train, and the train is met Ataraxia. He's doing his best to live. The Supernova did nothing for him. He jukes the portal, though, but he can't juke the unstable Vortex. And instead, First Blood, the way of Eager.
And I love the timing. Nothing up on the right-hand side for Obey to steal away. Ataraxia has to keep in mind that they have the Janus. They have the ability to dropship the entire team on top of him that quickly.
It was very similar to what we saw LG do. Xenotronics was doing the same sort of thing at the start of one of their games, and now Eager following suit here, trying to pressure his PandaLike. Did manage to steal at least one of those balls away.
Just PandaLike doing stuff. I mean, he just runs up to Zapman, uses his entire kit, but it doesn't matter. Map presence was there, and you could see the ward coverage for Obey is in their favor, but it doesn't matter whenever you have that quick global ultimate.
I think they're just waiting for Zeus as well to get online. Once he gets his full boost, they're ready to go in. I'm assuming that he would go for the winged one to try and stay alive in the fights, as they have a Divios with the Xing 10.
And we have seen a few Zeuses so far this tournament go for a very defensive build just to keep themselves alive on the back lines here. And once again, Prime at the moment, we'll see if he goes for the reinforced Greaves, which we've seen a couple of times out of them.
And last time we saw Best on this Janus, we were talking about how he didn't have quite enough damage to be effective in the earlier stages of the game, but this time Eager has that traditional assassin in the jungle, so they don't need as much burst out of the mid lane. Ratatoskr, one of the most damaging gods in the early game.
I'm curious to see if djpernicus will go for the double starter, as he used to get it, and that he was the one that brought out that build where he would go Bombers, Death Toll into the Bluestone.
Well, right now, the goal queue is started up by Obey here. Obviously, they're going to be respectful of space and time by it early, right in the sky. Looking to burst this one down. Obey will get it, but still DJ is waiting around his Panda. Drops a great ring, and DJ could be in a bit of trouble there. He's not careful. He's going to retreat, but Zapman is doing work once more, and CaptainTwig's in trouble still, but standing tall. Everybody's still alive, and Obey on the chase.
Beautiful ultimate there. Variety on the backside. He teleported in. He's up in the air, hovering. Death, 5 Best.
Oh, and he gets through the pole to safety.
So close there by Best. Had to use that purification. Love the play from Variety, though, teleporting into the ward that Eager didn't know was there, but they just couldn't get anyone quite low enough to find that execute, and you got to give shout-outs to Ataraxia there, peeling for CaptainTwig with his ult.
Well, right now you can see Divios still looking for aggression onto Variety, knowing that ultimate's down this time round, and Eager looking to aggress in the jungle. I really feel Variety could have just stayed on that side of the wall and waited, but instead using the ultimate meant Best got away.
Yeah, and I think they heard the Variety ultimate, and they knew, and they backed off, and that was a well-timed beads from Best.
And Variety still is very squishy. He hasn't gone for any defense yet. Still that assassin sort of health pool and protection. So I'd like to see djpernicus on this right-hand side. No purification as well for Variety. So you could see it coming crashing down from djpernicus directly into the whirlwind of Rage and Steel. Variety wouldn't have anything to do about it.
Well, first blood to Eager, first Gold Fury to Obey. At 8 minutes in, you can see it's relatively even, ever so slightly. Favor of Obey is the best. Eats a bird bomb, and maybe PandaLike will get some return. Oh! Prime caught him good. Best use of Paul, had no escape. The ultimate and the chain lightning, ding dang done.
We're in game 4. PandaLike has been taunting and clapping and being annoying the entire time. So Best is like, man, really, you're gonna jump on me like that? I'm gonna get a little bit of damage onto you, and that's exactly what they wanted. As soon as that portal was down, PrettyPriMe was able to explode him with the combo.
Yeah, and the Janus used the portal. He had no escape aside from to get out.
Ricochet from Zapman hits Twig, but Twig still picks up the red, but here comes a cavalry charge, stunning 2. The Suns are good as well. Winged is down from PandaLike, but it's not enough to save his teammate CaptainTwig.
Variety.
DJ's in the sky right now as the portal drops Panda through it, but Panda's still up, and Panda's still alive.
Oh, the dash gets blocked by Ataraxia as well. PandaLike's out, thanks to the blink.
He's gonna go down now, I think, here, and Zapman will leap onto him and pick him up.
PrettyPrime's next, slowed by djpernicus. Portal in from Best, through space in time. 4 down for Obey.
And it's a 5-1 lead for Riga now. They head to the enemy jungle, but sadly there's just nothing for them to look to extend this lead more.
And that team fight was all because of Zapman. He got the ultimate, and then he got the kill on Twig. Twig didn't get his ultimate off. It didn't give him back HP as well.
And then on top of that one, obviously the ring from PandaLike bought him a second, but it wasn't long enough for them to all escape there. Obey in tatters after the last team fight.
In most mages, when you get a pick on them, it's going to take them a long time to get back from base, but Best is playing Janus. He had that through space in time, used those portals to get into the team fight, and is able to pick up that final kill onto PrettyPriMe.
And this is exactly what Eager needed near the start of the game as well, especially after losing the Gold Fury 2, to find one good team fight where they were the ones being aggressed onto, especially after the Best just died as well.
And PrettyPriMe has looked very, very comfortable on this Zeus. That time, you kind of have to gamble in situations like that. You have to assume that your team is going to do well in the team fight because you have to be close enough to do the damage. That time, you're a little bit too close, and PrettyPriMe was able to be cleaned up, but I've loved his positioning as a whole so far.
Well, Variety's had to see Aurora in this lane quite a few times so far in just 10 minutes and deal with this for the most part, basically using these death sives to heal himself up when he can, not necessarily just for damage.
But again, we haven't seen DJ at all on this right-hand side, and the CC chain potential for Divios' ultimate is so strong. If Variety's able to get to level 12 and pick up a purification, if that's what he's going to look for, it would really help his chances of staying alive in team fight.
I think he's focusing more on the left side of the lane, trying to get Zapman ahead. They knew that Zapman was a key last game, and I think he's looking for this game as well.
Right now, Zap's looking fantastic. I mean, you saw him push into the tower. He does the jungle loop, which is standard for a hunter. Check around, see if there's any buffs up. Not necessarily to take, but just to give information to his team.
And I love the build coming out from CaptainTwig as well. There's attack speed oriented build, as well as giving him some extra HP to allow him to be that frontline initiator that Obey really needs. They don't have that at the Guardian role at all outside of the blink from PandaLike.
But he also doesn't have any protections as well, and he has no beads for the Divios dishwasher ultimate. So what can he do if once he gets ultimates and takes the unstable vortex into him?
That's gonna be the big thing, is how well can he time his ultimate to get that damage reduction and then the big heal afterwards. But with how much HP he has right now, and Best not having completed that Soul Reaver quite yet, CaptainTwig's gonna be safe for a little bit.
Well, the second Gold Fury has spawned, and Obey goes straight back to it now, starting this one up, trying to burst it down.
Time
comes through, hits onto Ataraxia,
the portal.
Back. The rat is still in the sky though, and the rat comes down into the ring, looking to clean up PandaLike. Zeus ult is good for damage, but not enough to stop them. And now Eager push on.
PrettyPriMe, nowhere to go, actually trades himself out, but Divios picks up the double. At least they get one, though. Obey able to pick up Best and the Gold Fury.
And the Gold Furies, I guess, is a big key there, Funball. If you're going to go for that sort of play, you expect to have casualties of war.
And they got the gold here as well, but I felt like they've just left him, the Zeus alone. And I feel like Ataraxia and Verity could have gone back in for the kill.
Still even in this game at 12.5 minutes in. The top of the scoreboard shows you it's been all Eager in terms of kills, but it's all about objectives as well.
And that's the power of having Wrath in the jungle. Yes, Divios has one on the solo lane side, but CaptainTwig's just going to be there anyways. You need to have Divios there early enough to stop that Wrath coming out, just not there quite quickly enough.
Well, DJ's dancing on the left-hand side of the map again, keeping his eye on Ataraxia, and Ataraxia, Zapman's currently having his way with him in this lane overall, and it's actually forcing PANDALIKE to now come over and help defend this lane as Ataraxia's been forced back to base once more.
A little bit of pressure on the left-hand side as well as the right. Aror hanging out. It's only Best who's sitting alone in the middle lane. Best, both of the deaths for Team Eager thus far, had such a great group stage, such a great super regionals, but we haven't seen quite the same level of play from him thus far in this series.
Left Harpies will go the way of Obey, and the red buff spawns at the right sort of time for them now. And you saw the graphs, we keep showing you the graphs because it's still so even between these two teams in this game 4. Obviously, Eager need to win 2 games in a row.
I think the key for this game is PrettyPriMe. They need to help him. They need to keep him in this game, and they need to play around him, get the Odin ultimates, make sure the Janus doesn't get the portals through the walls, and just go for the kills.
And it is the Wingblade pickup for Zeus, and I like that decision. More HP, and like we mentioned, you're going to have to get some real power to punch through that, even without any sort of protection, at least magical protection, like the build coming out from.
Variety has been a non-factor so far in this game. This pick of Thanatos hasn't really shown anything for us that would really help Obey right now.
Right, but I think it's more for the late game once he gets the poke onto Divios, for example, because Divios is playing a really tanky character. Xing, he's known for being tanky, he's known for getting those ultimates.
And the big thing is that Xing is known for having a ton of HP because he has that HP 5 passive. You're going to incentivize to build just health on him. And remember, it doesn't matter how much health you have, whenever Hovering Death is maxed, 40% execute. It's going to be looking at Divios most of the time.
Well, Divios doing a good job at hitting level 15 now, just about a level ahead of Variety with this wave coming into the tower, however. We'll see how that does, and Divios poking him down as much as he can, trying to block the shots and continue to make sure that the sustain that Divios has, so that Thanatos has, doesn't really come into play.
PrettyPriMe thought about making the rotation over to the right-hand side.
Linking from PANDALIKE on 3, looking at the Best, who's space and time, too close to the wall. Funballer was talking about it, but Aror will also take the sharp exit to the left, and DJ, who went up, he comes down as well.
Quick thinking there from the Best, able to save his own life and the life of Aror. But the good news, if you're on the side of Obey, is that you also got the shell, and that was the big thing. Aror was stuck in there for a long, long time. Even with that portal, he could have died if it wasn't for that defensive relic.
He got chain CC'd inside the cage. However, PANDALIKE needs to play this Odin perfectly in the mid lane. Otherwise, the team of Eager is going to get out every single time.
Well, now Obey is trying to force it in the mid lane now, and they're going to force it out to the Best, who's already low, but the Sanctuary's keeping him up. Zapman's rotation will keep PrettyPriMe at bay for now, and they'll go back at it, but Twig is chasing Best through the jungle right now. Thanatos, Hovering Death, comes down, but not going to find the target. Instead, the target is Eager's, and the target was Prime. On the back of the fight, Twig now surrounded.
Nowhere to go for Twig. He's going to fall as well. Zapman picks up his second. Divios is making the impact that Eager needs. 3-0-3 for the young solo laner.
Now Ataraxia will get the tier 1 tower in left, but the Best being forced back to base. He can stop the tier 2 as Eager answer that back with a tier 1 of their own. This one though, in the mid lane.
Well-timed Sanctuary for Best saved his life there. PrettyPriMe stepped up to try and do the damage necessary. Best gets chain CC'd, had the charges on him, but Sanctuary's away the detonate.
It also feels like CaptainTwig hasn't really done much this game. He hasn't really been that, that oomph that Obey needs. And I feel like he needs to try and go for the engages, try and get the taunts off with his ultimate so he can survive and get kills.
Really, it's been PrettyPriMe the only one trying to make anything happen for Obey. PANDALIKE as well. It's been those two working together to try and find the picks, but it just hasn't happened.
But last game, he was the one that also got the Quadra Raw ultimates, and he's the one that kept him in the game for that one as well.
Completely true indeed, but this time round, this is the first time I really feel that Obey are up against it. Last game was so even, but Eager looks so good this game. Their composition is really working for them. They weathered the storm of Obey's onslaught through the first 3 games, and now they have a shot.
And that's the thing, is that this composition for Eager is only getting better. Only Ratatoskr and this team really falls off towards the later stages of the game, but he always keeps that global ultimate, that big knock-up with that ult. So Eager's composition, the later this gets, it's going to be very, very scary for Obey.
Well, this time round, Obey not going to stop the Gold Fury on spawn like we have seen them do. They're a little bit more tentative this time round, and rightly slow with the way Eager's playing. And that man on your screen there, Zapman, 2-0-5, now level 17, the equal highest level in the game.
He's had an unbelievable game thus far. Second in player damage, looking to box out with Ataraxia. Able to find the ricochet despite the extra movement speed from Disapparate. The pings finding PandaLike in the jungle, letting Zap know he's on his way.
Zapman's had this pressure in the duel lane 90% of the game. They got the 4-man through space and time and killed him early game as well, which reduced Soul's pressure in this lane as well.
But Zapman still wants to go aggressive, knowing that the leap was down from under there. And that blink being down, around the Gold Fury being up, is a small but yet big win for Eager.
I mentioned it earlier, this team for Obey is lacking engage. They were really relying on that blink from PandaLike, and with that down, like you mentioned, Hindu, at a bad time right around the spawn of the Gold Fury.
9-2 right now. Gold Fury will stay in control for the time being of Obey, with that ward being down here, as Variety has lost his tier 1 tower on the right-hand side. So 2 tower advantage to 1 in the side of Eager.
Divios has also been a factor in this game, mid, early, and late. He had the pressure in the solo lane. I feel like this Thanatos wasn't... I don't really like the pick, to be honest. Maybe it'll come up late game, maybe it'll come up soon when they have a team fight. But
I almost feel this is like Obey trying to take things they've seen other regions do into their own play to continue to progress and adapt as a team.
The Ymir would have been great here. I would have really liked to see a Ymir from Variety. It's one of his best gods, if not his best gods. We haven't even seen it yet from him, and you also got to give shout-outs on the side of Eager to djpernicus, 0, 0, and 9. He's been a part of every single kill around the map.
Another thing is Eager were 2 games behind. They got 1 game, and they look great this game. I feel like they've got the motivation to come back, and maybe this will come out in the best of 5.
Exactly, yeah, momentum is definitely a thing in Smite. A lot of people talk about it, but we do see it from teams the majority of the time.
And Zapman's one of those people that run on that motivation as well.
Yep, and we keep mentioning the crowd, because obviously it's a live environment, playing at LAN, playing at the World Championship, something that Zapman's wanted to do for the past 3 years pretty much, and now he's finally here doing it. This crowd behind him is really going to help him to continue that as well.
Regardless of the outcome of this series, you can absolutely say that Zapman did his best here at Worlds. He's had a great series, even if his team is down 2-1.
Well, 2-1 for now at least. It is a best of 5, as we keep saying, as we approach 20 minutes. It's kind of stalled out now between the 2 teams, though. Obey, we saw them being aggressive at the Gold Furies, looking to steal those ones away, but with Eager constantly winning these team fights, Obey have now started to just sit back a little bit
But
more.
this slow-paced game as well is also really good for Obey. They need the Zeus to get more damage and need him to get back into the game, and Ataraxia needs more farm, try and catch up to Zapman as well.
And talking about PrettyPriMe there, Zeus getting a bit more farm. Well, at the moment, I spoke too soon. They're going to go back to the Gold Fury now, thinking they have an opportunity, but Eager's here to respond once more. Push back Obey. The ricochet.
Yeah.
I'll let the crowd do the talking on that one. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Max range. That's just Zapman, you know, comfortable on the world stage.
Heat check. Yeah, I'm good still. Okay, we can go on.
So the Gold Fury was looked at for a second there, but immediately Eager there to respond, and Zap's just feeling himself the whole time here now.
And I'm surprised that Obey didn't try and force that a little bit more, but they didn't know that djpernicus was on the right-hand side on his speed buff, no ward coverage over there.
And this is more of the Ataraxia passive playstyle that he's known to play.
Yeah.
Even though he was behind earlier on, I still think this is more of how... Maybe it's because he's not as comfortable on Sol. I've not really seen him play it. He might have played it in scrims or something, I'm not really sure.
It's a good point, because, I mean, we've not seen too much of Sol out of him just lately. It's been a lot of Chiron, a lot of Jingwei, a lot of, you know, that sort of thing. Freya as well, yeah.
As well.
But the Sol, not so much.
That's the thing, though, is that here at Worlds, we've seen him play a ton of magical hunters. It's been Kronos, it's been Freya, and now Sol's going to round out that trifecta.
Yeah, and it's like he's adapted more of my playstyle. I like to play the Cronoses, I like to play the Freyas and the Sols as well.
I actually talked to him the other day, Funball, and he said, yeah, I'm doing my best Funball impression, playing Freya all the time.
Why am I not playing then?
I was going to say, he's winning games, though. You're not.
Oh, too far.
Come on. Come on.
Oh, the crowd
Leave me
didn't even
alone.
like that one either. Wow, okay. Well, Gold Fury is still warded by Obey once more. Twig is standing around here with PandaLike for the time being. I'm expecting this game will come down to probably this next team fight. It really feels the way this game is going, how edgy it's now got between the two teams in terms of just standing back and farming, that one team fight will break the game in half.
I think the players feel that way as well, Hindu, because that's why they're playing so passively. They know how important this next engagement could be.
Looking at Zapman, is Twig there. The pin did not cripple him, and now they're going to turn to Twig, who ults himself for the heal. But the collapse is even better here. The heal comes through, and still Twig will survive. Space and time from Best was used. DJ's using his ult too. DJ picks him up, but there may be a chance for Obey.
Nowhere for DJ to go, but the shell is good. PandaLike taking a lot of damage. DJ very low. The Sanctuary Prime is here,
But Divios will stop that from happening. Divios will go to the backside, and Prime will not have any say in this game whatsoever, says Divios. 2 for 1, and eager, push on.
he's still going. 2-man knockup, 3-man root. Divios doing it all underneath the tower for Eager.
And now Eager have to wait for a few minions here for a second, but what a great little play. It was Twig looking for a little bit of aggression onto Zapman that got completely switched on his head.
And here it comes, is that sustain from Guan Yu. It's the oh so important heals, that conviction. This is the time where it's happening because that heal is maxed out for Aror, even more impactful than before. Now, tier 1 tower on the left-hand side falls. Gold Fury next on the list.
And Divios is finally in this game. This is where he shines. This is the mid game to the late game, and this is what makes Xing solo so good.
And what did he do in that fight? He went straight to Prime and went, no, you are not getting involved in this fight whatsoever, my friend. Took him out, and now Variety forced down. Divios is out of the fight. Obey are back in it. Aror, ricochet from Zapman. Double proc is good, and Zap's doing the dance. But Twig will make sure that doesn't happen. Now trapped in the ring, though, is Aror, and Ataraxia with the support. Twig he'll
DJ's
have,
up.
but DJ's here too, and the Acorns come up big.
But now PrettyPriMe is here. The chain lightning, the detonate, not quite enough. The portal from Best gets his jungler out of danger.
For the Gold Fury is the real target now, and Obey, they are going to get this for free. The third one of the game going to go their way here, which will keep the game in terms of gold even. However, the experience, 3,000 to Eager.
That pull from Obey is flawless, pulling it back into the Gold Fury pit. They know Best has an idea that they're doing that Gold Fury, but he's not exactly sure where it is. They pull it into the pit. That's usually where it isn't. The Best fired through space of time where the Gold Fury usually is standing whenever you're doing it. Heads up play from Obey.
He used the Janus ultimate as well, and then djpernicus opted to go for the invades. He got the blue buff, he got the speed buff as well. I really liked that play as he knew he couldn't go for the Gold Fury.
So the pick onto Twig in the end did work out for them. They invested a lot into that and then looked for the tier 1 tower, which they did find. But then after that, you feel like they just hung around too long, and it allowed Obey just to walk back in and go, oh, we can continue fighting now. Let's go, we've got more members.
It was this man on your screen, Variety. Divios tried to step up and use that whirlwind of Rage and Steel, and he's still pretty healthy. I mean, he's got so much HP in that build. He's level 20, got so much HP, but the execute was there. Variety went straight up, straight down, and turned the fight completely on its head.
He gave him the full up-down combo, which doesn't happen too often overall with Thanatos, but when it does, it's so pretty to see.
Just the execute coming in big there, twice in that team fight. Found it on DJ and then again on Divios.
Well, Variety just found 4 members of Eager near the fire giant there. I didn't think he was expecting that many to walk round the corner. But right now they're going round to the right-hand side just to push up this lane a little bit more.
Grouping from Eager here. This game is still very, very even. Aror has a small lead in the support role, but other than that, basically even, 1 level in favor of Best, and he's got 4 items online. Much more damage than PrettyPriMe has right now because of that Soul Reaver. You can see the offensive build from Best going for that Soul Reaver, that burst sort of build.
One thing I'm kind of scared for is that CaptainTwig went for this more of a support build, and they might not have the damage to actually be able to kill someone.
Yeah, very true indeed. We're going to have to be careful with that one as well. If they don't have enough damage as time goes on. But Zeus is here with the side of Obey, looking to just shred down the tier 1. Even things up in the solo lane for just a second.
We only saw the tail end of that engagement in the middle lane, but CaptainTwig was able to get the Sanctuary from Best and force him away. I'll hold that thought.
Twig's in a bit of trouble here, going to get thrown back into danger of Zapman, but the Zeus ult is going to force back Eager for a second. The ring is good to allow Twig out of danger as Panda sits on it still. Zapman, though, is doing work over the wall as DJ will take out PandaLike, and the boys of Eager's reinforcements of Janus are here. Zapman still running for his life with Aror chasing him, looking to heal.
There's DJ, he finds PrettyPriMe, double kill for djpernicus. Ataraxia fighting for his life. He's not going to be able to find it. Variety now on the run, stunned away by DJ and picked up by Zapman. Only CaptainTwig left alive. 5 members strong for Eager.
And the crowd erupts because they realize right now the Fire Giant Eager can take this for free. Fantastic engagement from them overall there. It looks a bit weird however it all started off, but in the end, Eager just had the right things at the right time.
And one thing what was key as well was PandaLike got hit by the Janus ultimate. He was a non-factor in that team fight as well, especially when he got the cage. The Janus ult ripped right through the cage, got people out of the cage.
And again, the shell coming up huge for Aror. That Odin Zeus combination still potent, but a lot of that potency cut down whenever you have that shell relic available. The time for Obey to try and use that combo again is now while that shell is on cooldown.
And it's not just the shell as well, it's also the Janus ultimates, which makes it less potent. And bringing Janus into this game, I think it was a key factor as well of them, you know, bringing forth the victory.
Now, right now, Eager just trying to build a lead in this game. We said how close it has been for a while, but all these towers, the Fire Giant, the last couple of fights going their way, has now allowed them to just stretch a little bit at the door of Obey. 5,000 gold lead now separates the two teams.
And a lot of that is still waiting to be spent. You can see TheBest just back, spends about 3,000 gold. DJ about to do exactly the same. 5 members of Fire Giant for Eager, and you can see how strong this healing has been from Aror as well. These team fights that have gone barely in Eager's way end up heavily in their favor after that healing. 13,000, and that's higher than Zeus right now.
Now, generally at this stage of the game, I start to look at compositions in terms of siege potential and disengage potential. Now, definitely, Eager have a siege team with the Guan Yu. The sustain he'll put out, those heals to the whole team, will allow them to stay there longer. However, Obey, on defense, I don't really see a very good defensive option for them.
Yeah, they still have the cage as well, and the cage, it's more around the walls at this point of the time because they're going to go for the Phoenixes, they're going to go for the towers as well. So it's really up to PandaLike to look for a good cage, try and set up PrettyPriMe. PrettyPriMe needs to sit back so he doesn't get the dishwasher ultimate into him.
And Prime has had 5 deaths this game, more than we've probably seen a little bit more of from him so far. They've really put pressure onto Zeus this entire time. And I think that's where we actually see the Soul Weaver coming out from him a little bit earlier on, so we can just try and bring some damage to the forefront. And Eager are going to look at the tier 2.
Variety also going for a damage-oriented build, not going to be able to have that frontline presence that we're used to seeing out of him.
No craziness for Eager though. They get a tier 2, straight back in the jungle, straight to the Gold Fury. No crazy overextensions.
I like this call. They're trying to get as much as they can before they start pushing for the siege on the Phoenixes. And they still have time for the Fire Giant as well. I really like this one.
Do you reckon they can get one more Phoenix out of this fumble, out of this Fire Giant? They can get a Phoenix still?
I still think they can, yeah. I still think they can get one Phoenix and maybe get a few picks. If they get more picks, then they can go for another Phoenix as well.
Well, let's find out exactly what Eager choose to do at the moment. The minion wave was pushed up in mid lane quite a way, so they've got to bring that one all the way down one more time. And on the left-hand side and right-hand side, you can see DJ is currently pushing that right one with the Rat.
Just over a minute left on this Fire Giant. All relics are up on both sides. All ultimates are up on both sides. This is the defense for Obey.
And Divios will lead in the boys of Eager in mid lane. DJ on the right, keeping Thanatos busy, both with semi-global ultimates, so expect to see those assassins swing into action the moment anything happens in this mid lane.
But Eager decides they don't want to try and force it down. They don't like that defense potential from Obey, and I think that's mostly down to that Zeus ultimate. If they can use that without even having to use the Odin cage, force the shell out, and then cage in Aror, that could be the strategy for Obey.
Eager's sitting around about 2k gold per person in hand, and I think they want to go back and try and get the gold and try and keep ahead of Obey. When they have more items, easy to kill people, easy to protect themselves.
Well, we are at 31 minutes now, so items will become less and less relevant eventually as we approach that 6-item slot being filled by both teams, but Eager have the edge there for the time being.
Right, but in 30 minutes, I still think the items are what makes it potent, and the Sol as well, I've not spoken really about it, it's not really been here this game.
The Sol, no, I've not really seen much impact from Ataraxia.
I've seen one Stellar Burst, and that's about That's about
all
it,
we've
the
really
team
seen.
fight,
But
yeah.
it has the potential to, later on, just one stellar burst could be a difference.
It only takes one big ultimate, one big stellar burst to really turn the team fight. And Ataraxia has had the player damage. It's that 18,000, but Sol does best at poking the enemy team down. And that's exactly what Guan Yu excels at countering. It's been those conviction heals from Aror, making that damage from Ataraxia less relevant.
Well, Obey pushed up into enemy jungle there for a second. Ricochet this time from Zapman won't hit home, but Divios straight towards Prime again. And Prime is being targeted down one more time. The Wearer of Rage of Steel will slow for a second, but it won't stop him. DJ's looking towards Prime again, though, potentially.
He's looking for it. He's going to find him. Two-man knockup, actually. Prime drops the ultimate, trying to get all his damage off before he falls, but he's still standing.
Oh, not lucky enough, though. Is the best will clean him up. Round the back comes DJ, but Variety picks up DJ. Aurora falls as well. And now Divios is surrounded. Only damage dealers left. And the portal from Best buys him a moment's notice.
In fact, he almost killed Variety, forced out the Sanctuary, but PandaLike, the wrath forward directly into the Wrath from Divios.
The Wrath from Divios will keep him alive. Twig gonna chase back in again, though. The pin is good, and Divios is still in trouble. Zap's trying to support one more time with the best.
No
and Divios
way.
is still alive until Variety turns up and hits him in the back of the head.
Only Best and Zapman still alive. Went for the Ricochet to stop the back there for PandaLike, but again, that fight looks so good. Divios does his job. He gets both relics out. Uh-oh, Best.
You need to see that coming just in time. Little bit preemptive from Obey there. They could have found it, but Zapman still knows they may still be here.
So again, it's Divios doing his job in that team fight, getting both relics out from PrettyPriMe, but Through Space and Time was fired off so early that the rest of the team couldn't catch up to DJ as he continued the chase.
Zapman showed so much experience with Ho-Yi then. He uses the Mark of the Crow and just aims it through the wall to check if anyone's hanging around the corner. And there was
Space and
people
Time.
stood there waiting. Space and Time hits, but the Fire Giant is going to go to Obey, and Obey are back in this. But Variety's not, he's in base.
Sacrifices himself for the Fire Giant, but it might not be the only one. Ataraxia running for his life. DJ just waiting for him.
And he's going to fall down too. The crowd erupts as Ataraxia falls 20-9. 3 members Obey with the Fire Giant against the 5-member team of Eager barreling down the mid lane.
But those are 2 big members of Obey down. Remember, PrettyPriMe still doesn't have those defensive relics for another 30 seconds, so that means that Obey is going to have a tough time defending this Phoenix.
I really didn't like what Ataraxia did there. He didn't follow his team to get out. He went towards the left rather than going towards the right lane.
Well, Divios doesn't follow his team. He goes straight to the back and picks up Twig. Twig straight into a portal as the Zeus ultimate waves. It's not enough to stop Eager from getting the Phoenix, but it will help keep his boys alive.
The rest of Eager got what they came for. It's time to get out of danger. Middle Phoenix falls. Eager up 20-9 in kills, but it's Obey with 3 members around that Fire Giant.
They'll strip the jungle, the Gold Fury due to spawn again, and take into account they lost the Fire Giant there, but being able to get a Phoenix gives them a big power play now for when waiting for the Fire Giant to fall down. The Fire Minions pouring down mid lane now will slow down Obey trying to advance and answer back.
And they're going to get the Gold Fury. That's what they're waiting for. They're trying to get as much gold as possible. Start getting those potions as well. Potion of physical might, you know, good. And
Oh, for sure. They really add up as well as time goes on in the game. But not only does it give them the gold, it denies the gold from Obey.
And that's the big thing. Obey actually doesn't want to let them back. After that Gold Fury being completed, remember, they still have 3 members with Fire Giant, but it isn't Ataraxia and it isn't Variety. 2 of the big damage dealers thus far for Obey.
2 members of Eager here to defend the tier 2 for now. Obey march on a little bit for a second. Watch Best on the left-hand side on that Janus. You can see he's got Space and Time primed if he needs it. One big ultimate from him and he could win the whole game straight away. Just like any mage could.
Taking a lot of poke right now. Still has that Radiance to heal himself up. PandaLike looking for the cage on the front side. Forced to jump away. Good poke though by PrettyPriMe is going to dissuade Eager from stepping up.
Obey are still trying to force it in the mid lane right now as the ring is good. The Zeus ult is good. But once again, Divios is there, as is djpernicus. Variety takes out Aror. Variety with a double kill for the portal.
Great portal there from Best. DJ's going to pick up PandaLike as well. Twig stuck there. Double knockup Variety. It comes to help. But now he may be dead as well. Best able to pick him up.
And it's only CaptainTwig left. He's running for his life. His Pooch by his side. But meanwhile, down to mid lane goes Eager. They could potentially end here.
They could. They've got the fire wave behind them, but it's a ways behind them, though. The respawn timers from Obey, extremely long, 27 seconds.
They're going to try and
until
end.
CaptainTwig gets the help.
Do you reckon this is a throw fun?
I don't know, we'll see.
CaptainTwig, his 3rd year at the World Championships. One of the only European players to do that. Has to keep Eager at bay. And actually, Eager seeing his face there was just enough for him to go, actually, let's not.
Have you seen the way he stares at the camera? He probably just came around the corner with that look on his face, and he was like, whoa, dude, all right, chill.
It's
like
good for that.
Yeah.
Well, the Fire Giant will be the next big objective point for both these two teams now. 1.5 minutes till it's respawn. The boys of Eager win a team fight when they're on the defensive for all intents and purposes against 3 members with the Fire Giant, and they win a big fight.
But again, it's Ataraxia just gets exploded early on. Look at the deaths and where they are for Obey. PANDALIKE only has 3. CaptainTwig only has 3. But Variety, PrettyPriMe, and Ataraxia, 5, 7, 6 respectively. These carries are not getting the protection they need.
When Obey are team fighting, the Zeus and the Solo together, that's like me and Lobster staying together where I'm trying to peel to him. I think you should just absolutely leave him alone because he's going to get... Yeah, the Rat's going for the Zeus and Best is looking for that ultimate to get other people in. I feel like they should just completely leave him alone, let Ataraxia do his own thing.
I completely agree with you. The focus has been on the Zeus, and at this point in the game, the focus really should be on the Soul, so if Eager don't recognize that, they could be in trouble.
Here we go again. The ring is down. Divios is out of it for now, but they're looking at Divios on the left-hand side.
Executed!
Good. Variety with 1. Prime still needs help, though, once again, and he's getting it this time round. The boys of Obey pick up 1 as PANDALIKE forces Eager back on the right. DJ takes CaptainTwig and a merry adventure to the left.
Fire Giant due to respawn in about 15 seconds. There it is, the damage onto Divios. The Soul Reaver proc coming up huge there. We only got 1 tick of Zeus off from PrettyPriMe, but it was enough to get Divios into that execute range.
This is more like it. They need to focus Divios. They have the damage to kill him. Just get that execute onto him as well.
And that's exactly what happened. The moment that Divios dies, Prime is staying alive, and that's what they need to have happen. Now it's Obey's chance around the Fire Giant, looking to defend it as Eager come in. Let's listen to Eager as they look to defend the Fire Giant.
They're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. They find it all. They're going on DJ.
I'm okay. Maybe
They're chasing him. We need help.
They got it. They got it.
Now. I'm up in 6 seconds with TP.
They're chasing you guys. Erlang going behind.
I'm probably dead.
Erlang's behind.
Well, I'm up now.
I aged a lot, but I'm probably dead.
I'm up now. I'm TPing.
I shelled you.
Soul's in the back. Soul's in the back. Can you guys just live? Just live. I'm here. I'm here now. We need to just live.
Obey get the Fire Giant, and you heard the comms there. They knew they got it. The meditate used by Aror, as now the siege begins for Obey this time.
DJ just not in the right position there. You can hear, like you said, Hindu, they have it. They have the Fire Giant, but DJ sticks around, gets picked off. The good news is Ataraxia thought he hit the slow and was trying to ult Aurora.
Pin on Divios, and Divios is getting bursted pretty heavy there. The Suns from Zapman keeps him up though, and the Radiant Steel is pretty good to do some work, but Variety again. Thanatos takes him, but Thanatos falls down to the might of the Titan.
Right-hand Phoenix falls, though, to Ataraxia and the rest of Obey. Variety able to pick him up. Oh, it was a bait! Aurora walked right into them!
Time, and Aurora is still alive. The Chain Lightning bounced to the best too, and that's going to force him back as well, but the bait wasn't good enough to find a kill just there.
And this is what happens when Zeus is still alive. He's got the damage. They baited him. They tried to kill him. Unfortunately, they didn't. But I think Variety, he's bringing this game back into it.
Well, Obey was split there on what they wanted to do quite clearly. You saw the tanks go to mid. The damage dealers were like, no, we want to go back to base. And that seems to be the call this time round. I've got to give credit where it's due to Variety, though. He has actually come up really big this game in terms of he did nothing in the early game.
I think it's every single game.
I agree, but like on the Thanatos, we were calling him out for like, this has done nothing. And then when the team fights hit, he was the only one keeping Obey still in this.
Yeah, man, late game Thanatos. That's what we're expecting to see. You feed in the early game on Thanatos, and then you carry in the late game. But that's exactly what we've seen so far at SWC. These 40% health executes coming up huge. And like I mentioned earlier on, it's been Divios the target every single time.
Well, every game just seems to get longer and longer between these two teams. We mentioned on paper they are so close in stylistic choices, in players who are the carries, who are the supports of these two teams. And right now, it is still anyone's game with how this one has gone as well.
You can see how many power pots are being picked up on each side. Obey has a bunch for all their damage dealers. In fact, an elixir of power, the 3K pot for Variety, going for the damage option instead of the defense one. And you can see why the build, really damage-oriented. Variety's trying to make some plays happen.
Well, 5 members strong, and they're going to tank it up for Sol to just bring down the tier 2 tower. There is one on the left-hand side still available, but it looks like Obey trying to decide whether you want to go for mid instead.
4 members still have Fire Giant, including Ataraxia, the tower shredder. He's got that penetration online. Actually still has Telkine's ring, not selling it for a more damage-oriented item in the late game, but he's still swinging on these Phoenixes.
Pin from CaptainTwig, didn't find a home as Divios clears the wave with the Roar for now. On the front side, the focus is onto Divios from Obey, just looking to whittle him down bit by bit, but Aror is there with the sustain.
Variety on the front line, even despite not being the tankiest target. CaptainTwig, PandaLike also looking for that blink cage. You can see him waiting for it.
And Chain Lightning, stellar burst this whole time from the back of Obey. Good defense from Eager for now, but this new minion wave in is going to force an ultimate from Zapman. Obey fall back and wait again another moment.
DJ on the right-hand side, Fire Giant only on for another 20 seconds. Eager's done a good job of waiting this out. Aurora's done waiting, though. He's going in on Variety.
And the ring was premature from PandaLike there. He didn't really find a home. Divios, though, he's on the front line alone, and he may take a bit more punishment than he wanted. The Meditate will buy him a moment as the heavens wave.
Haunted back in. Divios, though, throws CaptainTwig deeper. The through space and time not there, but djpernicus picks up Variety on the backside.
And now Twig is going to be in trouble, too. Eager get that one as well. Obey have to turn tail for them set for like 15th time this game, and back on defensive duty. The game will continue.
Variety forced to use his ultimate so early in that engagement, needed it for the CC immunity because of the cavalry charge from Aror, but no one was low enough to execute. He came back, but DJ was able to find him anyways, but that's why that whole engagement kind of fell apart for Obey. They rely on that execute.
And the whole team of Obey also didn't know where the djpernicus was. That's what allowed him to get
entire
back
time.
Look for the kills.
And now Eager will get the middle Phoenix down. It was already weakened earlier on, so it's a nice easy pickup against only 3 members of Obey without an ultimate right now.
Zapman going for the triple crypt build, doesn't have a whole lot of tower damage. That's why you see even with the 5v4, they're not going to try and push it, as well as the fact that PandaLike and Ataraxia both have their ultimates up. PandaLike still has that blink as well, and Aror has no shell. As soon as we see PrettyPriMe have that lightning storm up, don't be surprised if you see them play aggressive.
Well, the Fire Giant is up though, and Eager's going forward. We can have a listen into Eager and see if we can see what they're going to do next after this.
Hang on fire.
They're keeping it. Wait. That's really good. We should fight as soon as we can now.
Hey, go back to fire.
Yeah, go back to fire.
He went all the way back, dude.
You know, they had no Thanatos.
Can we do this? Yes or no? Can we do this? Yeah, we're burning it pretty hard. Do we have hog?
No, we don't have a hog.
Can we just burn it? We can burn it.
Alright.
Get some damage on it, guys. Nice. Let's get this another 5 wave. I'm gonna push this.
Push left. We should push left. Against the weak Phoenix.
Help me!
I can help you. You're fine.
I don't want it to take forever.
We need to get a second Phoenix down. But
Yeah, we should push left. Too.
we need to abuse this fire wave. Someone has to keep it rolling without dying.
We can't with the Thanatos.
Well, I can, I guess. Okay, try it.
I'm grabbing this blue.
Careful. It's better when I...
Well, listen to Eager there, and you heard exactly what they're going to do, trying to use this extra fire minion wave in the mid lane, and then look to the right. Thanatos ultimate is still down, but not for too long, and Variety, when he gets that back, that's what Eager is scared of.
We'll see how well Obey can defend. We've seen Eager do it time and time again in this set. Now it's Obey's turn to try and defend yet again in this game.
And Variety's going to hang in mid lane, trying to make sure that they can't push up too much and maybe even meet djpernicus. And they have a nice little trade between the two of them, but for Eager waiting for the minions to push so they could look for the right-hand Phoenix themselves this time.
Twig still trying to be that initiator. Obey hurting from that lack of initiation right now. Blink is up, but the shell is as well for Aror, which means that Zeus-Odin combination not going to be quite as potent on this right Phoenix.
Very difficult here is blinking from PandaLike to force them back again. The ring was good and the portal out from Eager was even better, but it was the through space and time ult for ult trade. The Phoenix is only at half right now.
Ataraxia used his ult as well, but Lightning Storm still available, and Shell is down for Aror. So you can see they're going to be looking for that Lightning Storm ultimate to kind of dissuade them off this Phoenix.
But the second Phoenix staying standing is so important to both teams, and both teams have done great work at holding it. But DJ got spotted going up, and Obey fall back.
Obey has to. PANDALIKE, the only one who is in Variety, up in the sky, not able to find the execute. Lightning Storm on the
Divios brings in 2, and PANDALIKE drops. CaptainTwig drops. The front line of Obey are dead right now, and Eager are knocking on the Phoenix's door.
PrettyPriMe still alive though. Divios very low. Ataraxia playing pretty aggressive, stepping up there to try and defend the Phoenix. He cannot do so. Right side Phoenix falls in favor of Eager.
And straight to the mid lane goes Eager. They're trying to decide whether they can end, or do they go for the third Phoenix as well.
Still 45 seconds left until the front line for Obey respawns.
Base that goes off. Eager, we're 2-0 down. Eager are North America's one of the only hopes they've got left, and they are still in this one right now. We're going to a Game 5 in the first semi-final of the Season 3 World Championships of Smite.
Wow. Eager. What a battle between these two teams. So evenly matched. Obey looked so dominant through the first 2 games. And then in Game 3, looks like they'd be able to pull it out again. But Eager holds strong on defense. Obey cannot break the base.
Yeah, Zapman's coming in strong there. Keeping the defense.
He had to step up big, Fumballer, and what stage to do it. Fantastic work from him. And right now, well, boys and girls, we got a shootout because it's now a best of 1 for all intents and purposes. We'll head over to the analysts so they can break down just how crazy that Game 4 was.
Thank you so much, guys. Wow. Everyone, just go to the bathroom, okay? Just go to the bathroom, take a poop if you need to, because it's going to be a long one, folks. Oh, welcome back, everyone, to the analyst desk here. Okay, so let's just reel it back in. Draft phase looked impressive on both sides. You have the Zeus Odin pick for Obey, but then you had Hu Yi for Zapman, so that was a big one. But then you had this one pick, Thanatos from Variety, that really opened up a lot of opportunities here. Overall, you guys felt like you wanted to see a Game 5, but did you really think we'd see a Game 5? And this goes to you first, Suntouch.
I think we would. I mean, the Thanatos pick was definitely risky, but with the momentum Eager developed in Game 3, I definitely felt like they could pull it forward. They're a very momentum-based team. They have that morale, they have that friendship of as they've seen in the videos by the team. And I was, even though I want you to win, who can deny a Game 5?
Indeed, indeed. All right, so Taco, talk to me. What were your major takeaways here? I can go on for days, but I'm going to toss you a softball, and then let's just see where we roll with it.
I think the biggest thing that really stood out to me was, again, this Pern-Divios combination, Pern on the Ratatoskr and Divios on that Xing. They were not giving any breathing room, again, to PrettyPriMe. They were non-stop diving the Zeus, and that was pretty much crucial because they would force out the Zeus ultimate majority of the time, burn his actives, and then immediately re-engage with either one of their ultimates. Like, whoever engaged first, you know, you just had the second one following up immediately after. And it's almost like Obey knew that it was coming every time, and you could see Variety trying to, you know, create a little bit of an opening and a bit of an escape route for the Zeus, but he was just never really able to get away from Eager.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you see it telegraphed in front of you, and you're just like, well, I know what they're going to do, but it works every time. That is very frustrating to play against, too, when you feel like you've read the play, but you still fell to it anyway. So, with that being said, now that we've seen djpernicus and Divios step up, games 1 and 2 really were a story of them. You know, Divios was very committed to the Terra on solo. It just wasn't working out. Switches to Sobek, gets a good game. Switches to Xing 10, another great game. And even for djpernicus, he had the Cabrakan last game, and that was just like a huge door opener for them, followed by some great play from Divios as well. I mean, you know, like, it seems as if these two guys click, this team goes places, because your other 3 guys, you really don't have to worry about them. Zapman's going to do Zapman things, and that's what I took away from that one. What do you think, Son?
Yeah, absolutely. Zapman, an incredible player, but we've seen it. We need a solo lane and jungle pressure going into that kind of early mid-game fights so they can secure their jungle buffs and kind of deter the Obey invading. And what we did see in that game, maybe that Eager need to work on, is just objective control. They had the lead in kills, the huge lead in kills,
Massive.
but Obey, every single time, securing the Gold Fury. Meanwhile, you got to admit, Obey did drop like 4 ults on the Gold Fury, but it kept them in that game, and then you saw that seesaw kind of Phoenix from Obey, Phoenix from Eager, Phoenix from Obey, and you just didn't know where it was going to end up.
So as we move forward to Game 5, it's best of 1 territory now. Everything has been shown, the pocket picks, the Anubis, you know, how 2 times even. We even saw the Poseidon picked earlier as well. Obey, they're in a position going into Game 3 they thought would not be possible. If you're Obey, what do you do now? Who do you focus on in the picks and bans as we focus on Game 5?
Honestly, I think allowing Best to have the option for Janus is probably what led to a huge part of the downfall in this past game for Obey, because Best's ultimates were just such a great chase factor for Eager, and it just seemed like when you have such a mobile squad going up against a Zeus, it's really hard to constantly focus on peeling for your Zeus, because you pretty much guaranteed and know that, like we said earlier, he's just never going to really be able to escape in the way that what he would ideally want to. And so it's almost like it completely eliminates the whole factor and the whole purpose of Zeus, considering that if he's not able to get his burst damage off because he's just getting focused until he dies, you know, there's not much point or potential behind it. So Best on Yan is definitely something that they should probably not allow to happen again.
Yeah, I think you're correct there. Obey could possibly look towards picking the tier again, but maybe banning the Anubis away. I know that seems crazy to say this at the Worlds, you know, ban Anubis. But when you think about Tier's kit, you know, he wants to be knocking up the mid laner and focusing him down. And you saw numerous times Best would actually use that Anubis Death Gaze, or whatever it's called, the burst ability, to immune the knockup from the Tier. So that's a strategy they could look towards. Maybe they have some kind of pocket pick they could have been saving for the finals, and they might just bring it out now in that desperate time. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
It sounds as if there's just way too much to prioritize here, and something will get through the cracks, right? Inevitable. Whether you want to, look at Zapman, for example. Basa on her, does work on her. Plays Hu Yi, does work with Hu Yi. Xing Wei, again, same thing there too. It's like, doesn't matter what you have, right? I mean, there's certain roles that you just gotta like eliminate from the equation at this point in time, like Ra, even though Eager beat Ra. So, you know, I don't even know where you want to focus this on at this point.
Well, I mean, that's probably one of the best things about Team Eager, though, that a lot of teams have struggled with them throughout this whole season, is just the fact you can't really ban out Aror, Divios, Pern, or Zap if you think about it, because all of those players have a very diverse god pool in comparison to a lot of other teams. You know, you have a couple of players typically, you know, look at somebody like Adapting for Energy, for instance. He can play almost any jungler and play it at a top level. And that's kind of the story with Eager, is I'd say that like majority of their squad, with their capability to pretty much flex a lot of their choices, I think it just opens up so many avenues for them. And that's what really causes them to be such a potent squad. And even at times when we've seen them run back the Anubis, even though it looked like it was something that this is just an awful idea, never pull this out again. And I mean, here we are wondering, we could possibly see this coming out again in Game 5.
Or even see it banned.
Yeah, or even see it banned.
2017, we're banning Anubis here.
We're kind of at the battle of the nerves, right? Like, who can hold their nerve? We saw Obey with that 2-0 lead, and during esports, time and time again, we see they're so close, right? But to get over that finish line and push that final game can be quite hard. And now Eager are in that same position.